Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ella Grade. This is my channel, Ella Grades, and today we're reading I Still Think You're Beautiful, a drarry fanfiction on Wattpad. I really hope that you enjoy. Like, subscribe, and comment down below whether it's just to say hello or whether it's to give recommendations, because I will respond to both and I love both very dearly. Anyway, let's jump right into the video. Chapter 23. Draco. The door to the classroom creaked open. Most of the class turned around, including me. Harry walked in. He'd changed his clothes, cleaned up a bit. He still looked pale, but not as before. Professor Flintwick nodded, and Harry slid into a seat at the back. His eyes found me and gave me a forced smile. I smiled back. What was Madame Pomfrey thinking, letting him back in class? Pansy, next to me, was looking at him wearily. I hope he's all right, she said, to me, turning back around to focus on our charms professor. She began to write down the notes on the board, and I copied her. I'm sure he will. I think I was reassuring myself more than her. I was completely worried about him. We continued the lesson, mostly in silence, until someone had a question. I kept looking back at Harry, his eyes on the parchment. A few minutes later, I heard a scrape of chairs behind me. Flintwick looked up. Sir, can I? Harry asked, holding his face. Why was he doing that? Yes, of course, Mr. Potter. He practically ran from the room. I jumped up, leaving my work behind and Flintwick's calls behind. I saw Harry run into an empty bathroom. I pushed the door open to find him grabbing some tissues from the stalls. Harry, what's happening? He turned away from me. Nothing, Draco, I'm fine. He leant against the sink, breathing heavily. No, you're not. Look at me. He turned around, holding a blood-stained cloth to his face. Harry. It's fine. I'm fine. It's just a nosebleed. He started coughing and ran over to the sink, turning it red. I rubbed his back. It hurt me so much to see him like this. I just wanted all of this to be a bad dream. He stood up and leant on the sink, catching his breath. I conjured a glass of water, handing it to him. Thanks, he croaked, before taking a sip and setting it down. Harry, what did Pomfrey say? Why did she let you out of the infirmary? I hated that I had to leave. I almost hexed McGonagall, which would have not ended well. That I'm not dying, not yet anyway. Apparently, whoever is trying to kill me stupidly didn't give me enough, so now I'm just ill. She gave me some sort of antidote. I have to go back tomorrow for some more. He sniffed. The blood on his face made him look quite sexy. I pulled him into a hug, careful that he didn't get blood on my clothes. It's fine. Will you stop saying that? It's getting extremely annoying. And anyway, do you know who poisoned you? He pulled away from me and shook his head, walking over to the sink to wash his face. He rubbed his hand on his temples, eyebrows furrowed together. Harry, what's the matter? He tried to grip onto the sink again, his hand slipping. I caught him. Harry, I've just got a headache. He slurred, using me for support. I need to sit down. Sit down with me. I crouched down, lowering Harry with me. He sighed. To answer your question, no, I don't know who's trying to kill me, but I'm pretty used to it by now. I rolled my eyes. Stupid Potter with his Gryffindor bravery. It's going to get him killed. I copied Harry's sigh. We'd better get back to class, Harry said after a while. I didn't want to go back. I just wanted to sit here with him at all times and make sure he was okay. He's not okay. Fine, I said, standing up, pulling him with me. I thought you hated the word fine, he smirked. We just stood there for a few minutes looking at each other. Harry wrapped his arms around my neck and pulled his body into mine. I'd been urging for a kiss for what felt like ages. A grin widely as our lips moved in perfect sync. We've fitted flawlessly together. We were made for each other. I know it's cheesy, but we were. When I'm with him, I can just be me. I'm sorry, I said, breaking away. I couldn't have made the confusion on my face any clearer. What? For what? I pulled him to look at me, his eyes gleaming. That I've put you in this situation, that you have to look out for me. I don't want anyone looking out for me. They just end up getting hurt. I don't want anyone else to get hurt because of me. He cried into my shoulder as I pulled him in. I wrapped my arms around his skinny body tightly. Hey, it's okay. I'm not gonna get hurt, and neither are you. You'll be fine. We'll be fine. I was trying to convince myself again. He'll be fine. I'm still hating that word. Come on, let's head back. He grabbed my hand and wiped his tears away as we strolled down the corridor. We walked in bravely, holding hands. Flintwick looked at us strangely, but nodded in acknowledgement. We heard a few sniggers, and Pansy was beaming. I sat next to Harry for the remainder of the class. For the rest of the day, we openly showed our relationship to people. Walking past Ron with a glare ready, he just looked disgusted. My glare intensified. Harry seemed okay whenever Madame Pomfrey had given him was obviously working, which was good, I guess. We walked to arithmancy with Professor Victor, who is a complete coward and somehow survived the war, though I can't really say much. I think Harry had another headache, but didn't ask to leave the class again. I gripped his hand under the table. He squeezed back, and I helped him with his work. The teacher kept on coming over to ask how he was. It was probably increasing his headache. Stupid git. I tried to stop myself from worrying about Harry too much and focus on my studies. I can't fail my newts. It's going to be hard enough for me to get a job being an ex-Death Eater and all. I sighed and went back to my sums, grinning at Harry to lighten the mood. This class is extremely boring, I said to Harry, as something dropped onto his parchment. Me and my big mouth. Chapter 24. Harry. This class is extremely boring, Draco said to me. I smirked at him as something landed in my book. It was a piece of parchment. I looked at the teacher quickly and opened it. Are you okay? What's going on? HG. I'd completely zoned out and forgot that Hermione had no idea what was happening with me and Ron, and with me and Draco, let alone with me. I can't tell you right now. Talk after class. Harry. I enchanted the paper to silently fly over the desk to Hermione's a few seats in front. She turned around and smiled, scribbling something else on the paper. It floated back a few seconds later. You know you can tell me anything, right? I won't judge you. X. I sent back my reply. I know. I'll tell you everything after class. X. The paper floated over the desks once more, but was intercepted by Professor Victor. She glared at me and snatched the parchment out of the sky, opening it and reading it. I thanked Godric that I had written anything too revealing. As much as your efforts to talk after class, you are interrupting my lesson. Now, I don't know who this note was directed to, but I'm sure you aren't going to tell me, so you will have detention for them. Victor spat. But Professor, I'm quite aware of Mr. Potter's situation, Mr. Malfoy, and I don't care. And I care to say it will do him good to relax a bit and do some classwork. She crunched the paper up in her hand, releasing it from her palm, revealing the paper had vanished. Back to work. Hermione turned again and gave me a sympathetic smile. It's okay. I mouthed at her. The class finished quickly, and Victor told me to come back at lunch for my detention. We had a free period, and Draco said he wanted to meet in the library, as I had to go back to our room to get my books. I was on my way there when someone tapped me on the shoulder. "Harry, can we talk now?" It was Hermione. I nodded, and we went into a little courtyard, sitting down next to a tree. "What's going on with you? You've completely ignored me this past week. And Ron? Did I do something wrong? And you're always with Malfoy." I sighed. "I told Ron I was gay." "Well, actually, Ginny told him." "What? How dare she? I'll give her a piece of my mind." "No, Hermione, she's not worth it. Anyway, she found out because she caught me, well, kissing Draco." Hermione's face dropped into pure shock. There was no disgust, thankfully, just disbelief. "You and Malfoy? I thought you hated each other." "We did, but now we don't. And we're kind of together now. I really like him, Hermione. I just don't want to hurt him." I sighed again and leant back onto the tree, almost laying down. "How would you hurt him?" she quizzed. I, nothing. Never mind, it's nothing. Forget I said anything," I muttered, my body going rigid. "Harry James Potter, if there is something you're not telling me, you know I'll find out, so just spill." I looked at her, her big brown eyes filled with hope and happiness. I didn't want to ruin that. She's my best friend. She's been my best friend for 8 years. I can't tell her. She'll get all motherly and brave and try to find the person who's trying to kill me, and I don't want her getting hurt as well. "Harry, is it bad? Is it something big?" She looked at me as if she was about to cry. "Hermione, I just can't tell you, okay? Then tell me why you fainted the other day. Tell me why you get to leave classes. Tell me why you have nosebleeds all the time. Tell me, please." I just stared at the ground. It was killing me. Should I tell her? "You're not dying, are you? You're not dying, are you?" Her words rang in my ears. She really was the cleverest witch of our age. I turned to face her again, tears stinging my eyes. It was only now that I realized I was scared. Scared of dying, possibly. Hermione leaned into me, and we both just lay there, looking at the clouds. Someone poisoned me. We don't know who or how, but that I've only had 2 doses. "What potion?" Intentus murmured. Hermione gasped. "1 more dose and you could—" "I know. Some people can live past that, but it's very rare. 4 doses is enough to kill anyone, but for some it can kill in 3. I know. I'm scared, Hermione." She hugged me harder. "Do you know who it is?" I shook my head. "No, but McGonagall is bringing oars in to find out who. Let's talk about something else. So, you and Draco, when did that happen?" "The day I was let out of the infirmary. I was in the astronomy tower thinking about everything, and he came in, and we just talked. I mean, we talked before, and we were civil, but we were laughing and joking, and then I just fell asleep. I had a nightmare and woke up." "Harry, why didn't you tell me you still had nightmares?" "I've always had nightmares. It's fine, really. Anyway, I ran out, and I was in a state, and he was comforting me." "Malfoy. Comforting." She giggled and smirked. "Yes, and then we just kissed, and it was amazing. And then Jenny had to ruin it. I think I love him. And tell him. Show him." "Have you guys done the do yet?" She smirked. "No, not yet." I giggled. "Shit, I'm supposed to be meeting with him in the library. I'll see you later, Hermione." Thanks for listening. I'm sorry I avoided you. I just didn't know what to say. She nodded, standing up with me and pulling me into a hug. It's fine, and if you need anything at all, I'm here. I'll talk to Ron for you, and if he doesn't come around, then I won't talk to him either. Thanks, Hermione. I sped off in the direction of the library, trying to be as quiet as possible, to not aggravate Madame Pomfrey. To not aggravate Madame Pince. I skimmed the library and found Draco. He wasn't studying, though. He was kissing someone who wasn't me. And it hurt. Alright, everyone, that is the end of today's episode. The next episode is for this is chapter 25, and there is a trigger warning in the next episode. There is some pretty dark stuff in the next couple chapters regarding self-harm, so do be careful with that. But anyway, good morning, good afternoon, or good night, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye, ladies, gentlemen, and everybody in between, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, friends.